with me, and like he would have his hand like in the middle of my thigh, and then it like progressed from there. Like he would put like porn on in the TV before school when my mom wasn't there, like if maybe she had to go to work or something early, and like.
So he would play porn when you were about what, 5?
Six or seven. I was like probably in first grade. He never like went any further than just touching me and like making me watch stuff with him.
It's still called abuse. You were far too young to have been put into situations like that, having your whole mental and spirit open to porn. All of that is abuse. And I think it's important for our audience to recognize what abuse is, whether it's verbal, emotional, sexual. There had to be a lot of emotional pressure. I want to even go so far as to say trauma on you as a six-year-old.
Definitely took away a lot of my childhood because I was always the one who was trying to make sure my sisters like were okay. She stayed with him for a very, very long time. Like she went back and forth with him. No matter what happened, he abused her, she abused him. It was never good. It was always very toxic between them two.
So how long did the abuse last with you? From 6 years old to about what, when you were a preteen or what?
Yeah, so it stopped with that whenever my mom we got taken away from my mom. It was pretty, like nothing for a while. And my half-sister's dad had moved us to another city. We left living with my grandparents half the time and were with him for the whole time. All of a sudden, in 8th grade, I just started feeling really weird. I just remember like hearing clicks, like, like whenever you take a picture on your phone, it makes that shutter noise. Then I noticed that he was taking pictures of me. Every time I would bend over, or if I was wearing short shorts and I was doing the dishes or I was cleaning, I told my stepmom, like, my dad's taking pictures of me from behind and I'm scared of him, and he's been like coming in my room at night. One time at the old house before we had moved, he had came in from being out at night, and I woke up and he was like on top of me. And I was like, Dad, and he was like, oh, I thought you were Gina, like saying her name. And I told her all these things. As soon as he got home, she told him, like, this is what Reagan's saying,
Reagan, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I mean, my heart just, to hear this story, it's so disturbing to know you had to go through it. I thank God for his grace that you made it out. But the story goes a little further now as a result of this.
Well, that went even past that. I didn't get out of that house until I was 17.
Wow.
And it had went further. Like when she had told him, he took me on a drive in the truck and was like nailing me down, like telling me like cussing at me, saying all these things, like, why would you say all this? Like hitting me in my forehead with his fingers and like, pushing on me and stuff. But I like let it go. But then it went on to, I always wanted to be a bodybuilder, and I wanted a bodybuilding.com account. And he's like, okay, well, we can make one for you, but I'll run it because there's creeps on there. I was like, okay. So he had me put on a swimsuit and he took pictures of me. And then that kept going on and on and on. Then he would order outfits off of the internet. He's like, oh, I bought this for Gina, but I need you to try it on for me to see if it fits her. And so I would try it on, but it was lingerie.
Is Gina your mom?
My stepmom.
Stepmom, okay.
Yeah. And then he would get me to drink, and he would like tell me, oh, don't be a pansy, oh, drink this, like pretty much pressuring me into drinking alcohol to the point to where I would black out. And I really don't remember like a lot of things that happened, but it started going on to him like having me dance for him and having me give him lap dances. And like telling me, oh,
your stepfather?
Yeah, telling me, oh, move your hand over, let me see your boobs. And I would like try to make up something and say like, no, I don't want to, like they're ugly, like blah, blah, like say something.
Reagan, let me ask you something. I want to make sure that I'm following you and our audience following you. You went from your biological mother back to your father, who you later on found out was not your biological father?
Yeah.
So you're staying with your
half-sister's dad.
yeah, and his wife.
Yeah.
Okay, and not your biological mother and father.
Right. I don't know my biological dad.
Okay. And this abuse, I mean, this is like crazy. I mean, who does that? That is just so abusive. How did it take you to this point where you're going through all of this abuse and you end up in, was it California?
Yeah, so I left his house to live with my grandparents, and I had went to go try out for the wrestling team at Wayland Baptist, which is the university that I was going to.
So now we're at the Christian university.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
you went to try for the what?
The wrestling team. Yeah. So
you're a wrestler?
Yeah.
Mess with you.
Yeah, and they had let me sign with them. So that summer, after my first semester at Wayland, I was being like a promoter for a club in Dallas, just a regular club. And the owner of the hotel at the Crown Plaza was hosting this thing called Exotica. I didn't really know what that was, but it's like pretty much like a sex convention. But I wasn't like doing anything. I was just hosting the after parties. But they had put me and another girl into the finals round of this competition, like on the stage for Miss Exotica. We were like dancing and stuff, and then like I crowd surfed, and then I won like $500. And there was like a video of it. And when I went to school, after that summer had happened, that was like everywhere. Like
the video?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, she's doing porn, like blah blah, and I was like, no, I'm not. Like I didn't. I was just hosting the event. Like I don't do that. But from that event, I got like a lot of people like talking to me and telling me, oh, we'll fly you out here and we'll pay you. So there was this thing, it was just a solo thing. It was just by myself, not with anybody else. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I went and I did that. That's when everything went bad. Like when I went there, I didn't know that it was gonna be like that. Like I thought it was just gonna be like maybe just some lingerie and like no bra or something. But it was like me, like he's like every little shoot was like more and more him telling me to do more and more stuff. And so I don't even know like how like the pictures or anybody like found out. Only 2 people knew about that. So it had to be one of the 2 who told everybody else that I had done this, and then it just like spread like wildfire through the whole school. All the teachers, like if I was missing a class to go do something, it was penalty. Like all of them started hating me. Like the teachers wouldn't even look at me. They wouldn't even talk to me if I asked for like some extra help or something. It's in your book. It just started going like that. And so I was just like, what's the point of me even being here? Like I'm asking for help. Like I'm trying to fix my grades. I'm trying to get better with my relationship with God, and everybody's just pushing me out. Like not being loving and welcoming, and like my family had found out about me doing that. And obviously they weren't very happy about that at all. And I had just felt like a big disappointment. And the opportunity to go to California, it came, and I just took it. Like I left all my stuff in my dorm room, and I packed one suitcase, and I just left, and I never came back.
Hearing your story, did you feel hopeless? And as a result of feeling hopeless, when this opportunity came from California, it was like, who cares anyway? I might as well go and make some money.
I felt like a burden to everybody. So I just was like, I can just take care of myself.
So what was the thing, once you got involved in the industry, what was the thing that convinced you that this is not for me and I need to get out of it?
Well, from like the first thing I did, I had like left, and that whole night, like I was crying. Like I was just like, what did I do? Like, what is wrong with me? And like one of the girls that was in the house I was staying at, she kind of just made me feel okay with it. She's just telling me like, people have sex for free all the time. Like, they go on dates with people and they have sex with them, and like, you're not doing it for free. You're getting paid for it. So in a way, you're holding yourself to a higher standard. And what she told me, that's just kind of the attitude that I gained for it.
And it was so much deception in that.
Yeah, very much. And then it got to the point where I couldn't do it and then feel okay with myself. So I started drinking. Man, I was drinking a lot, like way too much for somebody my size at all. And I was starting to dibble dabble into cocaine and Molly to make myself feel happy and to make myself feel good. Then I would just
cover up all the pain.
Yeah. And then all the money that I was making, I was spending it on like drugs and alcohol and going out and, you know, trying to buy friends pretty much, because I knew none of these people liked me. Like, they only wanted to party with me. Like, I was like the good time Mike kind of person. Like, nobody didn't really took the time to get to know me for me. And I guess that kind of made me even worse. Like, I'm in this city all by myself. Like, I can't go, like, in my head I was like, I can't go back home because everybody's just gonna be ashamed of me, like, you know.
A lot of stuff going on up there.
Yeah, I just was like, a lot of times I would just be in the car just crying. Like, what, like, I just kept saying, why? Like, why is this, why am I doing this? Like, I was just so confused. And whenever I had met my baby's father, he was like, kind of like my saving grace. Like, I had been in a relationship with this person before that, and he had beat me up really bad, you know? And so he was like there, he protected me. And I was on, like, at that time, was on Molly for like 5 days straight. Like, I wouldn't get out of his bed. I just stayed right there, like, just taking it. And he just looked at me and he said, you need, like, that's enough. Like, you just need to stop. And I don't know, something from him just saying that just made me like, whoa, like, somebody actually cares about my well-being. Like, somebody doesn't want me to be like a mushroom in this bed.
You know what it was? And that's what this show is all about. It was God's grace. You could have gone one day and even been dead. With everything that you've gone through, you've kind of taken us through this story, and it is a sad one. But even in the midst of everything that you've gone through, from 6 until that particular place, and been let down at Christian University and mocked and not gotten the treatment that Christians should have given you. But the grace of God is God's unmerited, undeserved favor, coming to you to give you what you didn't deserve. And Jesus doesn't condemn us. He doesn't judge us. He doesn't say, I don't want to have anything to do with you. But just right when you don't think you deserve anything, you see that saving grace that shows up and says, you know what, even though you don't deserve it, I'm going to do something good to you, not because you've been good, because I'm just good and I want to show you goodness, you know. And that's the grace of God. Yeah. That's the grace of God. I got a question. With everything you took us through, you took us on a journey here. What were you searching for? What was missing? What were you hoping to find?
A purpose. I wanted to know why I was here.
On the planet?
Yeah, like, what's the point of me being here? Does anybody understand what I'm feeling? Like, can anybody really, really love me? I don't know if people understood, like, how sad and angry I was. Like, I didn't really talk about it that much, but how much I just didn't understand why all the things that happened to me happened.
Well, you know, there are basic human needs that every human needs to have, and one of them is to have an understanding of my significance and my purpose in life. There are lots of people who are watching this broadcast right now can relate with you. They're trying to figure out, why am I here?
Yeah,
what am I supposed to do?
Like I was just a body.
Yeah, does anybody care? And I think that's where we come in and really minister to the fact that you can do a lot of things to try to find happiness. People can do a whole lot of wrong things trying to find happiness. But there's a place in your heart that God put only for Him to abide. And I believe with all my heart, until we make Jesus the Lord of our lives, we're never going to really experience what real happiness is. And I can assure you that you were put here for a purpose. You were called for a reason. There's an assignment and a mission for your life. And a lot of times we have to go through, when we don't know any better, we have to go through rough patches in life to try to finally get to that place where we can discover the will of God for our lives. You are significant to God. You are loved by God. I'm sad to recognize that Christians that you've encountered, they had an opportunity. They had an opportunity to be living epistles, an opportunity to show the love of Jesus Christ, his care and his concern. I don't know what it is with some Christians, we just miss out on an opportunity. I think we have to be careful as Christians not to become so self-righteous that we don't understand that self-righteousness is unrighteousness. And it's when you look at somebody else's life and you say, well, at least I hadn't done that. And you're comparing yourself with somebody else's mistakes, that's self-righteousness. Everybody has an issue, which means we should be very ready to help minister to someone else when we see them going through. But I think sometimes Christians come to the point where, I don't know, they become so judgmental and so self-righteous that they forget that if it were not for Jesus, we would all be in hell. We're one Jesus away from being in hell. And if you take Jesus away, we all in hell, you know. Yeah. But because Jesus is now involved in the equation, we don't have to. And I am telling you, you mark my words, everything that you've gone through, it may sound and look like a mess, but Jesus knows how to take your mess and turn it into a masterpiece.